lot of games at Arrowhead in this postseason. It'll be the second one. They just beat the Texans. We'll show you those highlights momentarily. Packers go to the Bay Area. I mean, there's a lot of ins and outs there. Mr. LaFleur working under Mr. Shanahan for 8 different seasons, 3 different teams, a lot of ins and outs. Rodgers, yeah, he knows that area pretty well, too, doesn't he?
Sure does.
Those 2 teams have a lot of tradition as well. Cannot wait for that.
Welcome to Good Morning Football. We are in New York City. Happy Monday, and thanks for choosing us to give you your highlights and all your goodness from the NFL postseason. This is Nate Burleson, the Wonder, Marshawn Lynch, Derrick Henry. Your picks, you're on fire.
I'm all right. I went 2 for 2.
Okay.
Wasn't bad.
You're on fire. Peter Schrager, Kyle Brandt, myself, and here are some highlights. Packers welcoming the Seahawks to town.
America's Dairyland is the host for this evening. This was the last game of 4, and it was fantastic. Russell Wilson has never won a tackle football game at Lambeau Field. Aaron Rodgers, 13-3 on the bye, and Aaron Jones, all he does, score touchdowns. Packers up big in the second quarter, going to halftime cruising. But that snake, that viper, third quarter, Russell Wilson's going to, he's going to make comebacks. You need more points. Go to Devontae Adams, the best wide receiver Aaron Rodgers has ever had. Accelerate, gone, 28-10. So now it's over, right? Now you've shut the door on Russell Wilson. Impossible. Russ goes right down the field, 28-10, last minute of the third quarter. What's he doing? He's going to his guy, the logo, Tyler Lockett, touchdown. All right. So we're a little bit closer. It's 28-17. They get the ball right back. He goes right back down the field. Fourth quarter, money time, Russ time. Give it to Marshawn. Stopped initially, touchdown. Now is it starting to get a little tight in Lambeau because Pete's going crazy as always. Russ gets the ball back again. Less than 4 minutes to go. 3rd and 5. Don't let him go down the field. Preston Smith sacks him. Huge play, but then he gets back on the field, or does he? Rodgers, 3rd and 8, the throw of the year, Devontae. Move the chains. He goes out of bounds to stop the clock. So the Aaron Rodgers faces another 3rd down. You just don't want to give the ball back to Russ. 3rd and 9. Jimmy Graham off the ground, goes down. Look at the ref at the top. He says 1st down. Pete was furious. They thought he was short. He did look a little short to me, but it's over. The Packers win. The former Seahawk Jimmy Graham with the big catch to end it. They took a few knees, and it was over. The Packers, the 2 seed, 28-23, win. Rodgers over Russ. They will now go and face the 49ers. But head coach Pete Carroll not happy about the ball placement on that crucial Jimmy Graham 1st down catch. What say you, Pete?
No, my guys just were telling me he's short, It looked short, and had they called him short, then it would have been short, No, I mean, it's the same thing last week. You called him a score, you let him score. They wouldn't overturn that one. I'm talking going back to the Niners game, I guess. That's how it goes.
Pretty happy for Jimmy, to have a couple really big impact plays for us. All his catches, I believe, were on 3rd down, all conversions.
Let's bring in Ian Rappaport. Rappshy, thanks for waking up with us here on Good Morning Football on a Monday. So much to talk about, but there are some question marks surrounding that crucial Jimmy Graham catch, which, of course, put the game away for Green Bay. What can you tell us about the review process with that one?
Well, some of the questions, Kate, come from the fact that it seemed the league essentially made a decision, came back, and were prepared to basically rule that Jimmy Graham had, in fact, made the 1st down. And they went back and announced that there was additional footage, and everyone wanted to know, what did that actually mean? What is this additional footage, and why didn't we see it? I reached out to a league official, and the explanation I got was that one shot came in very, very late, but they wanted to make sure before they made a firm and final ruling that they took a look at everything possible just to make sure that this was a call that was not going to be overturned, and the shot that came in late did not, in fact, alter the outcome. It is also worth noting, Kate, that the yellow line we also see on TV is not necessarily where the 1st down marker is. It is really just an estimation for our convenience. Does not necessarily mean that is where Jimmy Graham landed. Either way, as Pete Carroll kind of alluded to, we saw the referees act in a way that they have all year. If possible, unless there's clear and conclusive evidence, they almost always stick with the call on the field. That's exactly what happened. Graham got the 1st down, and the Packers advance the next week.
consistency is key there. They do advance. They have to go face the 49ers. Ian, thanks so much. We'll have you back in a little bit to help us break down what happened and what's ahead this next Sunday. And that Jimmy Graham catch, it came on a crucial third down play. The Seahawks defense had their worst third down percentage of the season last night against the Packers with 64.3%. So you heard from Ian, you heard from the coaches, but both of these teams down to the wire. You just were waiting. You knew it was going to come down to this. Big moments on both sides from both teams. What did you think of how it ended?
What was impressive was how surgical Aaron Rodgers was in that final drive. You know, when thinking about Aaron Rodgers and how he picks apart defenses, it kind of reminds me of when I played for certain coordinators and they would say, "Where's Waldo?" And you would find the weakest matchup on the field. Now, it's tough when you have Aaron Rodgers and you have a guy like Davante Adams. You know, I was looking at that final drive and a couple catches stand out, the ones we showed in the highlights. The one to Davante Adams on the sideline. The safety over the top was Delano Hill. He played 7 snaps in this game. The reason I say that is because Quadri Diggs played 98% of the snaps, right? One of the top safeties in the business. 7 snaps from a backup safety. Aaron Rodgers found him on 2 of those. The first one to Davante Adams, and then the one that closed out the game that went to Jimmy Graham. I thought that was so impressive because when he's sitting back trying to figure out where is he going to attack on the field in the final drive of the game, he found a backup who hasn't been in the game, and he exposed the matchup. So credit to LaFleur, credit to Aaron Rodgers. They dial up plays, and Aaron Rodgers surgically picks apart defenses.
The theater of it, so it's amazing. All week long we said this is going to come down to whoever has the ball last. So here's Russell Wilson ready to go. I've got shots here. We've got plenty of time. I'm down 5 points. And, of course, 3rd and 8. You talked about the Adams pass. Let's see it because it's one of the most precise passes in the clutch you'll see. 3rd and 8. Aaron Rodgers gets under center, and he hits his guy, Davante Adams, on a perfect pass right in the breadbasket. Exactly what you want. And 3rd and 9 comes right after, like literally 18 seconds later. And it's to Jimmy Graham. But what you might not have noticed was the block by Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones picks up the blocker coming up the middle. The linebacker comes right up the gut, and Aaron Jones. It's a team effort. And Rodgers did everything in his power to not let Russell Wilson onto the field. Everyone said whoever the ball last was going to win. Aaron Rodgers made sure, I'm going to have the ball last, and it was a whole team effort. You mentioned Adams, you mentioned Graham. Aaron Jones was maybe the biggest block of the Packers season, picking up the linebacker and ensuring Russell Wilson never sees the light of day.
There was a terrifying aura with Russ getting back on the field, right? It just felt like, we said last week, you got to kill the snake. If you let him back on, he's winning.
Did you think you were in that highlight, when you were doing the 4th quarter highlight, in real time, were you like, he's going to get the ball back and they're going to win?
I did.
You did?
I really thought that the climate of the game was not closing the door. They get the big sack. And then that throw, guys, that throw to Davante Adams is a Canton throw. That is a Canton, Ohio throw. Whenever David Baker comes and gives this incredible monologue to Aaron Rodgers and he goes in, they will show that throw in his induction. And the kind of cool thing about it, too, this was an audible. And this was not Yellow Weasel. That one didn't work. This is a different one. If you go back to training camp, the whole audible storyline, Davante was supposed to run a slant. He audibled it to the double move over the top, the perfect throw. They drop that pass. Russell Wilson gets the ball back. I believe the Seahawks win that game. Canton throw in the big moment. Lamar, we're going to get into him. Mahomes, everything. It's still Rodgers. It's still 12, still the best thrower in the game.
And it wasn't even his best catch, or not the best catch, but his only big catch of the game, Davante Adams. And we talked about him a lot leading up to this game. Like, everyone's talking about DK Metcalf. And yes, we love our DeAndre Hopkins and Tyreek Hill, but Davante Adams can be the best wide receiver on the field. He's been dealing with turf toe all season long. It's a hard thing to play through, right, Nate?
No doubt. They say it's like a broken toe, basically.
Yeah, it hampers you pretty much every time you're on the field or walking off of it, like casually. So the fact that he's back and the fact that Rodgers now isn't as forced as usual to throw to these unproven younger wide receivers, this is the game changer here. He's at 118 yards per game and 4 touchdowns over the last 4 games. He's healthy. He's his guy. And this is how you beat the Niners if you can go in and do it. The problem is Richard Sherman and company aren't having this.
No doubt about it. It's going to be a fun game to watch. But back to this game for a quick second. I know we have a ton of time to talk about it because we have 3 hours today.
What's on your mind?
And we'll talk about this a little later in the show. But that Packers defense, in the moments that mattered, they dialed up a couple of blitzes. I'm sitting on my couch at home, and even I was shocked that they came free. There was one time where Russell Wilson was literally squeezing the ball and clenching his face as his eyes were closed because he did not see the blitz coming. That right there is perfect execution. How many times have you seen Russell Wilson caught off guard? Not many. And they called it in the 3rd and 4th quarter. bold calls, landed home. Credit to that defense as well.
Yeah, Za'Darius and Preston were all over the field, 2 sacks apiece, and that's why you go and get these guys in free agency. This is what the Packers did this offseason. They said, we're not going to be our usual frugal selves and sit on our hands. We're going to get defensive weapons. And these guys there, step up. Go get it, Preston. They had a blast out there, and the Smith brothers really did close the door.
Brian Gutekunst getting some love?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a tip, old Packers teams, we'll figure it out. We just drafted a bunch of good players. No, they signed 2 players in the offseason who showed up in the biggest of moments. Really, really impressive game by the Packers.
So what the Niners did, Kyle, is this defense enough for them?
We'll see. I mean, those pass rushers are absolute maniacs. I don't know if the offense is enough for them. Like Roger was saying after the game that Devontae felt like Jordy. He's like, that's the first time I feel like